Shadowmoon Valley. A place that feels like it belongs more in a dream than in the world of Warcraft. A land of ancient spirits, luminous waters, and a night sky so full of stars, you wonder how Blizzard had the technology to create it. Today I want to take you through the Warlords of Draenor version of Shadowmoon Valley, a zone that, for a lot of players, including myself, stood out as one of the most atmospheric, beautiful, and immersive areas that Blizzard has ever designed. We're going to take a look at a few of the mainstay locations of the area and take a deep dive into some of the lore of it. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's have some fun. First things first, I'm probably not going to touch on the garrison too much in this video, because I feel like I could do a whole lore thing on the garrison itself. There's just so much rich lore packed into the garrison, but we're going to focus more on the actual zone than the zone you create within the zone. But first impressions, you could consider this a different kind of Draenor, if you will. When most people think of Draenor, they picture the brutal volcanic landscapes of the Frostfire Ridge, or like the harsh jungles of Tanan Jungle. But Shadowmoon Valley gives you something completely different. The moment you step foot into Shadowmoon Valley, everything is calm. There's an elvish theme to it. The skies are blue, and it's beautiful. The wind carries soft whispers. There's not a lot going on, but it's still absolutely beautiful. The ground glows with a gentle violet light. And the sky, it's always night. And the sky is always vast. It really feels like its own character, the sky. This isn't just a zone. It feels like a memory. A moment frozen before the storm, when the world was still whole, before what was to come. Now, we can't do a video on Shadowmoon Valley without touching on the architecture and the culture of the Draenor, the main inhabitants of Shadowmoon. One of the best things about this version of Shadowmoon is how deeply it immerses you in the culture of the Draenor. For years, the Draenor were a race with beautiful aesthetics, but they really weren't spotlighted in anything. But here, in Warlords of Draenor, you see the world through their eyes. Crystal-lit pathways curve through the hills that they've built. Ornate temples stand among floating stones and arcane waterfalls. Structures breathe with energy, almost having life to them, like living monuments built with reverence rather than conquest. Karabor, as you're seeing here, is especially stunning. A beacon of the Draenor civilization at its golden age, at its peak. Walking through it doesn't feel like visiting a city. It feels like you're visiting a sacred place. Somewhere that's existed for thousands of years and will exist long after you die. And the Draenor NPCs feel more alive here than almost anywhere else in the game. I would even go as far as saying than the Exodar. The priests, like, they'll walk around and they'll tend to their gardens. Like, the amount of detail that Blizzard put into this area is just astonishing. The children play near the waters of the Embery village. I mean, it's beautiful. And it's one of the rare moments in WoW where a playable race gets to show you not just who they are, but what they cherish, what they protect, and what they mourn. Let's take a look at the story of Shadowmoon Valley. I like to call it a conflict of faith and shadow. You know, like, for Shadowmoon Valley, whatever. Shadowmoon Valley's storyline unfolds at a slow, almost deliberate pace. That might not sound exciting in a game like World of Warcraft, you know, where there's everything happening all at once. But here, that slower rhythm is what gives the zone its true power. As soon as you come through the portal, you're introduced to Yrel, I believe is how it's pronounced. She begins as an inexperienced acolyte, but you get to watch her grow. You get to watch, like, just her evolve as a person. Not through dramatic cutscenes, but through smaller, personal moments, such as helping her rescue her sister, supporting her as she faces loss, doubt, and eventually destiny. It's really subtle storytelling from Blizzard. It's not loud, it's not grandiose like an Illidan or like the Lich King. It's just, it feels human. And it really is like an embodiment of what the Draenei are. They're just trying to survive on a planet that they don't know much about. And then there's Ner'zhul. This version of Ner'zhul is quieter than the universe-shattering villain he becomes later in the Outlands. But there's a tragic undercurrent to him. A chieftain torn between tradition and desperation. Shadowmoon Valley lets you see the spiritual side of the Orcish clans, the rituals, the reverence for ancestors, and how easily that reverence can turn to fear. The conflict between the Draenei and the Shadowmoon clan isn't simply good versus bad. It's cultures colliding, philosophies clashing, and faith being twisted by anxiety and ambition. The storytelling here is truly intimate, one of the most I've ever seen in a video game. It's not world-ending, it's not overwhelming, it's just personal, and that's what makes it memorable. Now, you could go say this for most zones in World of Warcraft, but I truly feel like Shadowmoon Valley is the best embodiment of a zone that's made to be wandered, to be explored. Mounted travel almost feels too fast for it, like you want to go by foot. Every corner of the map just has something curious for you to uncover. There's whispering forests, where ghostly outlines of ancestral spirits drift between the trees. There's lakes glowing with crystalline energy, reflecting the constellations above. The caves are lit with soft blue fungus, humming with ancient rituals. Some of the ruins, they're quiet, still maintained by long-forgotten Draenei caretakers. The wildlife is at peace. From gazelles grazing under the sunlight to elephant-like Elec traveling in family herds. You know, it really just feels like a jungle, a forest. There's really no other way to put it, it's just Shadowmoon Valley. And then there's the little details. A lone Draenei fisherman sitting by a glowing river. An anchorite sweeping temple steps long after midnight. Even simple things like lanterns and crystals feel placed with intention, like Blizzard knew what they were doing. It's a zone that rewards patience. One where wandering off the main path feels less like wasting time, like what am I doing, and more like discovering the world of Warcraft. I'm not going to touch much on Karabor, as I feel like Karabor, or the Black Temple, could have its own video, but just know the immense beauty and the immense presence it has in the zone. It's not underwhelming at all. It's beautiful. Now what you're hearing in the background of this video is the soundtrack that Blizzard created for this area. It truly deserves a special mention. It's soft, almost mystical, and deeply reflective. A blend of choral echoes, distant drums, and shimmering strings. It truly feels like Draenei. There's no other way to put it. You can almost feel the wind blowing through the trees, the hum of the arcane energy beneath the ground, soft chanting in Draenei temples. It's all there. They nailed that. And the lighting. There's no other WoW zone that truly looks like Warlords of Draenor Shadowmoon. The entire landscape feels illuminated from below, as if the light is seeping out of the earth itself. It gives the impression that the planet's alive, that Draenor isn't just a backdrop, but a living, spirit-filled world. This is the kind of atmosphere that makes you want to take off your UI, walk slowly through the zone, and just exist there for a little bit. There's truly no other zones like it in World of Warcraft. It's beautiful. It's the only way I can describe it. The questing in Shadowmoon Valley mixes gentle storytelling with meaningful beasts. Discovering the burial grounds that was depicted in the last segment, the video I was showing that was of Shadowmoon burial grounds. It's a place where Draenei mourn and they speak to spirits. It's a cemetery. Helping the Rangari patrol the wilds, giving the Draenei a grounded, ranger-like identity, like a militia almost. Defending temples from the Shadowmoon clan as they attempt ritual after ritual to bend the void and destroy Shadowmoon Valley. Purifying lands tainted by dark magic, escorting NPCs through sacred paths beneath the luminescent sky. I mean, Shadowmoon Valley just has it all. It never feels rushed either. Every quest feels like a chapter in a larger book, not just a quest. And the dungeon that I was talking about, Shadowmoon Burial Grounds, ties everything together. I'm not going to touch on that much here, as I feel like that can warrant a whole video in itself too. But it's a quiet, somber place filled with echoes, memories, and the consequences of Ner'zhul's actions. You might be asking, why does this zone resonate with not only you, but a lot of players? Shadowmoon Valley succeeds because it's not trying to be epic. It's not trying to be grandiose. It's trying to be a beautiful area. A beautiful, peaceful, and spiritual zone. It's a rare example of Blizzard building a zone around emotion rather than spectacle. You have your Hellfire Ramparts, there's nothing truly like Shadowmoon Valley though. For many players, Warlords of Draenor might be remembered for its systems like the Garrison or its raids. But Shadowmoon Valley, the zone truly sticks with you because it feels like stepping into a story. A moment from a world that no longer exists. It's part history, part tragedy, and part hope. And even after all these years, it remains one of the most visually stunning places Blizzard has ever created. Shadowmoon Valley is a quiet masterpiece. A reminder that not every fantasy world needs constant chaos, a break from everything that is war. Sometimes the most powerful storytelling comes from silence, reflections, and the gentle glow of a world preserved in memory. Whether you're revisiting it or seeing it for the first time, take your time, look around, listen, feel the weight of the history beneath your feet, because Shadowmoon Valley isn't just a zone, it's a feeling. A moment of peace in a world always on the brink of war. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, have a nice one.